cause, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this live broadcast of Ask Huda, coming to you live from Cairo, Egypt. I'm filling up for Dr. Muhammad Salah, and I'd be more than happy to take your questions and answer whatever I have knowledge in, bi'idhnillahi azza wa jal. We have the first caller, Sister Khadija from Nigeria.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Let's check, how can one treat a relation who is a Shia?
Okay, and what is their relationship with them?
A second cousin.
A second cousin. Okay, I will answer inshallah.
Yes. Jazakallah khair.
Wa jazakum. I think the format in Ask Huda is different than Ask Zad, and they take one question at a time. So I will not change the format because I'm used to taking the whole list of questions and then answering them. So we will answer your questions one by one inshallah. Sister Khadija says, what is my relationship to a second cousin who happens to be a Shia? First of all, Islam is a religion of balance, fairness, and justice. So we don't paint all Shia with the same brush. This is unfair. Are they all innovators? Yes, without any doubt. Are they all kafir? No, without any doubt. They are shades. Like the Sunnis. Are all Sunnis pure Muslims on Tawheed? Of course not. There are Sunnis who claim to be Sunnis, yet worship the graves, or seek refuge in the deceased, or deal with magic or black magic and sorcery, or believe in the jinn and they ask for their assistance. All of these things nullify Islam. So it is only fair to say that Shia are shades and grades. Those who are extreme and go to the extent that they slander Mother Aisha, they curse Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and the vast majority of companions of the Prophet ﷺ. They claim that the Quran has been altered and changed, as the Imamiyya Shia or Al-Ithna Ashariyya and their Imam At-Tabrasi, who compiled a book, فصل الخطاب في تأويل كلام رب الأرباب, which is all about proving that the book of the Quran has been distorted and changed. Anyone who has such beliefs is a blatant kafir, without any doubt. So if your second cousin is one of those, definitely you have to boycott them and not have any affiliation with them. And this is not severing your kinship, because we must not have any relationship with apostates. But if he is an innovator, a Shia, among those like the Zaydis, like those who have inclination to loving Ahl al-Bayt more than anyone else, without cursing Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and the rest of the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, without saying anything bad about Mother Aisha, without criticizing the Quran or the authentic Sunnah as a whole and saying that it is fabricated, etc. In this case, they are like any other innovator. We have to be diplomatic with them. We have to be kind. We have to try to give them da'wah and show them the way back to proper sunnah and Islam, and maintain our kinship relationships with them as Allah has mandated, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Brother Raul from the US. Raul.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Happy to see you, Sheikh. I've never actually called you before.
I cannot
But
hear you.
my question,
I cannot hear you correctly, and if the control room can put some sound in my earpiece so that I can hear from the speaker and from the earpiece, that would be great, inshallah. Yes, Raul.
can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but the sound is not very clear. Try to speak a little bit slow. I'm an old man, you know. Just, may Allah make
How
it
about
easy.
now?
Yes, Akhi. Yes.
Okay, I hope you can hear me now.
Okay.
Okay, my question is regarding Salah.
Okay.
So, I never used to have this problem before, but now I feel like whenever I'm reading the Quran and saying all the words in the Salah, I'm saying it louder, and I'm trying to like articulate it to the point like where I feel like I'm misarticulating everything, and so I'm repeating a lot of words. I'm saying it louder, not like whispering.
In silent prayers
Like,
or
whenever
in
I
loud
hear myself,
prayers?
I feel like I could say it better when I'm saying it out loud.
Raul, are you
And so
saying,
then my Salah just takes like, oh,
Raul, excuse
Yeah.
me, are you saying it loudly when reciting in a loud prayer or in a silent prayer?
just in regular silent prayers, like when you're supposed
Okay.
to be doing it.
Okay. I will.
I'm not saying it loud, just like whispering loudly.
Okay. Any more questions?
Just that, and that are you supposed to say it like very quietly? Or
Okay.
To the point where you can't hear yourself first.
I will answer you, inshallah. So, Brother Raul's question, unfortunately, it has been reoccurring. And most of the people suffer from this as they suffer from wiswas. And this develops into being an obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. And before they know it, it's damaging their lives. And it is impacting it negatively. So, why are they having this? Number one, you look at it from a chopper view and look at yourself and what's happening to you. What is happening? You are departing away from Allah. You are drifting away from the straight path. You are losing your connection with the salat, with the prayer. So you tell me now, as an outsider, who's benefiting the most? Satan. Who's suffering the most? You. What's the remedy? This is in your hands. There's no secret or magical pill I can give it to you and voila, you have no problem. This is something you have to work really hard on. You can't watch bodybuilders flex their muscles and say, very nice, very symmetric. I'd like to be like this. Where can I get these pills or injections? Even if you get anabolic steroids, without going to the gym and spending 4 to 5 hours a day, you'll never develop anything. Likewise, in salat, to concentrate, you have to work. And this is not a private and special coach could help you. You need to do that on your own. First of all, acknowledge the cause of the illness. And this is 50% of your journey for healing. So, what is the cause? Shaitan. 50% is gone. Now you know. Who's making you do this? Shaitan. I can't help it, Sheikh. It's above my ability. There's nothing I can do. No, there is a lot you can do. You keep on putting obstacles in front of yourself. So whenever I say, why don't you continue to pursue your higher education. I have so many things to do, I don't have time, I can't concentrate, the family needs me, I need to work, the university is too far. You keep on putting obstacles, you'll never move from your seat. Whenever there's a will, there's a way. Say Bismillah. So now you know it's shaitan. Why is shaitan doing this? I don't know, Sheikh. I want to perfect my prayer. Good. That's a good reason. But tell me, did the Prophet ﷺ and his companions and the tabi'een and the tabi'it tabi'een and the rest of the Muslim ummah living on earth today, 2 billion Muslims, do they suffer as you do? No. Are you more righteous and pious than them? Definitely not. So then what's the catch? The catch is that shaitan is dragging your feet to his traps and you're listening. What to do, Sheikh? Number one, ignore it. When you recite silently, and this is a lot of the people with OCD suffer from, they say I have to utter it loudly so that I can differentiate between the letters. I feel when I recite the Fatiha that I've mispronounced it. Are you crazy? If I recite the whole Quran silently in front of you, you will not be able to distinguish whether I recited an ra or a dad or a ta or a ghain or a ha. All of these letters cannot be recognized until there is airflow passing over your vocal cords, touching certain areas in the tongue and the mouth where the sound can be articulated. Otherwise, they're all the same. I'm going to recite the Fatiha silently. And there is a ra, there is a dad, there is sin, there is sad, there is qaf. So don't adjust the volume on your TV screens because it's a silent. So you try and watch. Am I pronouncing it correctly or not? So, oh Sheikh, you didn't say the dallin correctly. How did you know? I didn't know. I was just bluffing. You can't. So don't let shaitan say to you when you say Allahu Akbar, say, maybe I did not say the kaf correctly. Maybe I should not say the ba or the ra. So let me Allahu Akbar. And you see this in prayer with some people, wacko people, say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. What are you doing? He repeats it like 50 times. And he thinks that, oh, I'm doing well because now it's perfect. It's right. No. You are digging yourself deep down in the ground in a rabbit hole. And it will never end. You never know how to get out of it. So my advice to you, Raul, never, I repeat, ever repeat a word or an ayah or a statement in the Quran, in the Salat again. Block all means of shaitan, inshallah, you'll be good. Muhammad from the Philippines.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam. Yes, how are you, Muhammad?
Hi, Sheikh.
I'm doing well, alhamdulillah.
I'm good. So, Sheikh, I have two questions, Sheikh.
Yes.
So, my first question, Sheikh, is, Sheikh, what should I do if, for example, I unintentionally missed a pillar in Salah? Should I add another extra rak'ah and do sujood as-sahw before Salam? So, and my second question, Sheikh, is it permissible, Sheikh, to buy and put stickers that says, for example, the Shahada or a sticker that says, MashaAllah on the car? I see cars have like this, so is this permissible, Sheikh?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. So, Uzak. Muhammad from the Philippines says, if I missed a rak'ah in Salat unintentionally and then figured it out, what should I do? Akhi, one of two situations. Either you miss a pillar, such as a Fatiha, I'm presuming you're praying alone, Fatiha, ruku', sujood, sitting between the two sujoods, rising up from ruku', etc. A whole pillar. If you forget it, either you remember it before reaching its place from the second rak'ah. So let's assume I'm reciting the Fatiha. غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين الله أكبر, and I go Subhan Rabbi Azim, Subhan Rabbi Azim, Subhan Rabbi Azim. Instead of saying Sami Allah liman hamid and rising up, I say Allahu Akbar and I go for sujood. I do to my 2 sujood and I stand up for the second rak'ah. I'm reciting the Fatiha and I remember, hey, I didn't rise up from ruku', and rising up from ruku' is a pillar. Okay, I missed it. What should I do? In this case, you should assume yourself in the ruku' position and that you have raised your head and you say, Sami Allahu liman hamidah. And everything you did before that would be void, because that would be extra, as you have not raised from the ruku' yet. So while standing, you say Sami Allahu liman hamidah, assuming that this is the rising up from ruku' of your first rak'ah. And then you perform 2 sujoods. Hey, wait, I did perform 2 sujoods earlier. They're void because they came after a missed rukun, a missed pillar that you forgot to do. So they're all void. And you continue. So this is situation 1. Situation 2. No, I forgot to rise up from ruku'. I continued to my second rak'ah. And while I was in ruku', I raised up from ruku' and said, Sami Allahu liman hamidah. And I continued my second rak'ah, my third rak'ah. In the fourth rak'ah, I remembered, oops, I forgot to rise up from my first rak'ah. Then what to do? Your first rak'ah is void. Your second rak'ah becomes your first. Your third rak'ah becomes your second. Your fourth rak'ah, which you are standing in at the moment, becomes your third. So you continue, and by this, technically you would have prayed 5 rak'ah, and you offer sujood al-sahu after the salam, and you repeat the salam. So technically, some folks watching would say that you've prayed 5 rak'ahs. Actually, the first one was void, and you prayed 4 rak'ah, and this is the correct way of doing it. So it's 2 scenarios. I hope this answers the question. His second question is, what's the ruling on hanging a sticker? So sometimes we see in cars stickers saying, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, or Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, or La ilaha illallah, or Alhamdulillah, or Praise be Allah. What's the ruling on such stickers? I would say that this is permissible, especially if it were to be with the intention of giving da'wah and calling people to Islam. However, they should be in a proper place, not in a low place, not in a place where they can be dirt on them or filth coming onto them. So putting them on top of your back rear window might be okay, because this is always kept clean and away from dirt, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Sister Shaheen from the UK. Sister Shaheen.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamtullah.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum. Sheikh, I have 2 questions, if you allow me, so I can ask both, or you think I should just go?
No. Huda is okay with more than 1 question. Only Zad is restricting it.
Okay, that's fine. My first question is, Sheikh, we had lots of pressure from family to buy a house in UK, and obviously without mortgage buying a house is very, very difficult here. But we, alhamdulillah, we saved some money, and we, inshallah, soon we will have enough money to buy the house. But the problem is, now when you see the situation like Yemen, what's happening in Palestine and all that, sometimes I just feel, should we have that saved money to buy the house, or should we help other Muslim brothers and sisters in the world with that money? And I know my husband wouldn't allow to give all the money, but obviously maybe some little money. And my other question is, who do we need to give zakat, can we give it to our own real sisters first, or shall we give it to people in Yemen, Syria, Sham, and Palestine, who are suffering more than what our brothers and sisters are suffering from?
Okay, I will answer your questions, inshallah. Shaheen's questions from the UK are very, very legit. Her first question is that we are entitled to buy a house, and you know how rent is way up the roof. Family is pressuring us. In the UK, all migrants, all settlers, first priority is to purchase a real estate, a property, so that it would be there for them and for their children, and that's a good investment. That's a realistic thing. It's one of the basic needs in life. However, when we come and look at the plight of Muslims worldwide, whether in Yemen, in Syria, in Libya, in Africa, in Burma, the refugees or the Rohingya or the Chinese Uyghurs and the oppressed worldwide, we come to evaluate, would it be fair us owning such a property while our brothers and sisters are suffering? Well, if we look into your cupboards, would it be fair to say that you only need one dress or two at most, and the rest of the 15 or 20 pieces of clothes also should be given away? And if you look at your cars, or even one car, alhamdulillah, there's the tube in the UK, there's the public transports, there are many ways of commuting that would save a lot of money, and instead of eating 3 meals, 1 meal a day would do. And why so extravagant? Few pieces of dates and a glass of milk would give you energy for the rest of the week. With this logic, we will not be able to survive. And not only by logic we understand things. We go back to the way of the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. And you tell me, did the Prophet alayhi salam forbid his companions from acquisitions, from buying things, from owning things? No. When Uthman came to him to buy the well of Ruma, and he poured the money, gold, in his lap, or when he wanted financing for the army going to Tabuk, Jaysh al-Usra, and he did the same. Did the Prophet ﷺ reprimand him and said, fear Allah, why do you have so much money when all the Muslims are starving or this or that? Did the Prophet ﷺ prohibit his companions from celebrating Eid at the time where the Muslims were oppressed in Mecca and were not allowed to come and migrate to Medina? No. When the Muslims died in the Battle of Mu'tah, when they were fighting the Byzantines on the 8th year of Hijrah, when the people of Bi'r Ma'una were martyred, did the Prophet prevent them from celebrating or from wearing adornment or putting perfume? You have to balance things. Our hearts bleed to our Muslim brothers, and we do whatever we can, giving them zakat, giving them moral support, spreading the word about their suffering and about their cause. But that does not mean we should restrict ourselves from living normally. And buying a property is from the basic needs of any Muslim family, and there's nothing wrong in doing that. So don't let shaitan mess up with your head. Now, her second question, and as a correction, it's not a policy of Zat TV not to allow more than one question. It's my policy, because it's my program on Zat TV, that I only take one question to leave the space for the other viewers to ask as many as they can. This is why we take usually 21 questions on average. In Huda, they have no such rules or ceilings. So that's why I'm taking it question by question. I'm taking my time answering the questions. And I hope that they're used to this way of process and they're not frustrated by it bi'idhnillah azza wa jal. So her second question is, to whom should we give zakat? There are 8 categories mentioned in verse 60 in Surah At-Tawbah chapter 9, where Allah azza wa jal tells us to whom zakat should be given. And the first 2 are al-fuqara wal-masakin, lil-fuqara'i wal-masakin. إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. The poor and the needy. So these classifications, poor, a person who cannot find enough. So if he has lunch, he doesn't have dinner. And if he has dinner, he doesn't have breakfast. Really poor. Rock bottom poor. Someone who's a little bit better, who has 3 meals, who has a roof on his head, who maybe has a car and a job, but it does not suffice till the end of the month. Despite his good salary, due to his large family not being extravagant or wasteful in expenditures, rather, when it's in the middle of the month, the salary is gone. And he starts asking people for loans. This is a miskin, needy. Or someone whose salary is good, but his father has cancer. And he cannot have any savings or property or wealth to pay for the chemotherapy, the radiation, and the whole 9 yards. So he starts to borrow and ask people. Zakat is permissible to give. Or someone who has children, doesn't have the money to pay for their tuition to school, buying them clothes to go to school, having a car, doesn't have the money to fix the car. So this is not extravagant. He's not poor. Alhamdulillah, he's earning, but he doesn't have what suffice. The other one doesn't have anything. This one has, but it does not suffice. You can give them the zakat. So what about my sister, my siblings? If you're not inheriting them and they're not inheriting you if one of you dies, and they are fulfilling the criteria and they fit the conditions and the labeling of poor or needy, definitely you get double the reward. The reward of charity, of zakat, and the reward of connecting to your kinship, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Muhammad from South Korea.
Wa alaikum warahmatullahi
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Good. I have a question I need to raise.
Okay.
One of my aunts, when he was on a sick bed, he could not able to pray by herself, and then he could not talk, and then I was having some kind of difficulty to pray on her, and then one of my uncles told me when Zuhur, then I have to pray on her, that I couldn't do it. Then later, when the Zuhur was going on, so I don't know what to do, and then I don't know any Sharia or any way to pray on her, and then she was looking at me. Suddenly, I feel tired, and then I wake up and I went out of the room. But I did not tell anybody about this one. Later, I feel that like if I have a sin during that Zuhur time that I couldn't be able to pray on her.
Let me ask you, Muhammad.
Yes.
I did not understand your question. Is she alive?
She was on her deathbed.
She was on her deathbed.
Yes.
But not dead yet.
Not yet, yeah.
And they wanted you to pray Dhuhr on her behalf.
Yes.
Okay, and you did that.
I couldn't do it.
Okay, so what is your concern now?
Like, if I will, like, I couldn't pray on her behalf, so if I will get sin on that, or I will not get sin.
Okay, any more questions?
That's it, yeah.
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah. So, Muhammad's question is very straightforward. His aunt was on her dying bed. She could not pray. Probably she wasn't conscious. So one of his uncles said to him, you pray Dhuhr on her behalf. And he did not know what to do. And he prayed 4 rak'ah, Dhuhr, hoping that this would be on her behalf. And now he's hesitant, he's confused. There is no shirk, there is no kufr, there is no sin in what you had done, because you did it out of ignorance. You did not know the ruling. So you were confused and you thought that, let me do it and then I will ask. So there is nothing wrong in what you had done, except that this is an innovation. Salat on behalf of others, whether alive or dead, is not accepted. Salat can only be performed on the individual's himself behalf. You cannot do it on someone's behalf. If you had done it, it's not accepted. It's counted as voluntary for you, not for the living or for the dead. So there is nothing, inshallah, for you to be afraid of. Ask Allah for forgiveness. Ask for your aunt for forgiveness. And Allah is the most forgiving, most merciful. Isa from? Okay. I think we've lost Isa from the Netherlands. Therefore, we will punish him for that and give you a break. Stay tuned and inshallah, we'll be right back.
وأشرقت الأرض بنور ربها ووضع الكتاب وجيء بالنبيين والشهداء وقضي بينهم بالحق وهم لا يظلمون ووفيت كل نفس ما عملت وهو أعلم بما يفعلون ووفيت كل نفس ما عملت وهو أعلم بما يفعلون ووفيت كل نفس ما عملت وهو أعلم بما يفعلون.
توكلنا على الله ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله.
Anas, may Allah be pleased with him, reported, the Messenger of Allah, peace be upon him, said, whoever says, upon leaving his house, Bismillah, tawakkaltu ala Allah, wala hawla wala quwwata illa billah. I begin with the name of Allah. I trust in Allah. There is no altering of conditions but by the power of Allah. It will be said to him, you are guided, defended, and protected. The devil will go far away from him.
ويريكم آياته فأي آيات الله تنكرون والذي يريكم البرق خوفا وطمعا السحاب الثقال سنريهم آياتنا في الآفاق وفي أنفسهم حتى يتبين لهم أنه الحق.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and welcome back. I think we have Farouk from Sweden.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I have two questions. One regarding the Iqamah. I know that we do follow after the Adhan, Allahu Akbar, you follow Allahu Akbar. But when it comes to Hayya ala Salah, you say La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Is there something similar for Iqamah? And is there any, could you please quote the hadith or any evidences for such if there is? And my second question is regarding I have a sister that wants to sell some clothes, and she tells me that her clothes are a bit revealing, and she fears that if she sells it to someone, that person may use the clothes in an inappropriate way, and she asks for the ruling of that. Is it permissible to sell it, basically?
Okay, I will answer inshallah.
Jazakallahu khair.
Wa jazakum. So Farouk's questions, number one, we know that it is sunnah to repeat after the adhan and to say the prescribed dua, and we will get the intercession of the Prophet ﷺ accordingly. Now, what to say when the Iqamah is being called? Well, the scholars of Islam looked into it and said the hadith talks only about the adhan and the process to be followed. But there is no hadith, none whatsoever, that talks about Iqamah. So the answer by default would be to say nothing. How is that, oh Sheikh? It's the same wording, and most likely it's a time of answering the dua, etc. All of these are speculations, assumptions. Without proof, we have no say. Because as the scholars say, that ibadat, forms of worship, are based on a tawqif. They're based on evidence. I cannot come and say, I think this ibadah looks fancy, let's do it. Do you have any evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah? No, but sounds good, man. No, this is bid'ah. Yeah, come on, everything you guys say, bid'ah, bid'ah, bid'ah. Why is it bid'ah? Well, Because the Prophet didn't do it, alayhi salam. And he's the one who said, whoever innovates in our religion, what's not part of it, it's rejected. So why would it be something nice? Why do you claim it's a bid'ah? The Prophet encouraged us to pray in congregation. And he also prayed after the dhuhr 2 rak'ah sunnah. So why not pray these 2 rak'ah sunnah as long as we're all in the masjid in congregation? Okay, that's a nice thing. But during the lifetime of the Prophet ﷺ, did he ever perform such a congregational prayer of 2 rak'ah sunnah after dhuhr? The guy says no. Says, okay, why didn't he do this? Either he did not know that it was rewarding, or he knew but he kept it secret. And either choices is kufr, because you're accusing the Prophet ﷺ either by ignorance or by betrayal. The third option is that you're innovating. You're doing a bid'ah, and this is a bid'ah. So, in a nutshell, Brother Farooq, you must not say anything when the iqamah is being called. Nothing. Some people, when the muadhin says, قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ قَدْ قَامَتِ الصَّلَاةُ, they say, أَقَامَهَا اللَّهُ وَأَدَامَهَا. And this is not from the authentic sunnah, and we should refrain from saying that. Farooq's second question, his sister has some revealing clothes. Now, alhamdulillah, she's a hijabi, she repented, and she's afraid that if she sells these clothes, somebody would use them inappropriately. So what to do? Such clothes, if you do not know who's going to buy them, and you have no hint, none whatsoever, it is permissible to sell. Why? Because there's a possibility that I may buy it for my wife, that my sister would buy it for her husband, that my daughter would buy it for her husband. So they're wearing it for halal things. They're allowed to reveal themselves to their spouses. And this is halal. What's wrong in that? So if you do not have a clue who's going to buy it or how they're going to use it, it's permissible to sell. If you know for certain that whoever is going to buy it is going to use it for haram, it is totally haram for you to sell it. There's a way that you may be inclined to know. So if someone comes to you in a shop where I sell lingeries, for example, or not lingeries, revealing clothes, and someone who's non-hijabi, non-niqabi, wearing revealing clothes, wants to buy a miniskirt, selling it is haram. Sheikh, maybe she's going to buy it for her sister who's going to wear it for her husband. I'm more inclined to believe that she's going to wear it herself. And she doesn't care about halal and haram. Hence, selling it when in doubt is haram. But when you don't have knowledge at all who's going to buy it from you and what they're going to buy it for, then it is permissible to sell, and Allah knows best. Maya from Sweden. Sister Maya. Sister Maya from Sweden.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
How are you, Sheikh?
Getting old, but fine, alhamdulillah.
No one is old now.
Alhamdulillah.
I have two questions.
Yes.
One is about the networking. You know, nowadays it is like a trending business, especially in the Philippines. Is it permissible for us Muslims to join this kind of business? To join the networking
business. Yes, question number 2.
And then the second question is it also permissible to say salam when you are in the washroom? Or someone say it to me, but I'm not replying at all because it is a washroom. I cannot say salam or whatever inside the washroom.
Got you. Okay, I will answer you inshallah. So, Sister Maya's questions, first one is about networking or multi-layer networking or the pyramid schemes. And the vast majority of scholars say that this is haram. Why? There's a difference between you coming to me and saying to me, Sheikh Asim, sell this pen for $1 and I'll give you 10 cents. Halal product, I'm getting a percentage, no problem in selling it. This is halal. Network, multi-layer networking or the pyramid scheme or Ponzi schemes, they work on a pyramid-like. Those in the bottom feed those on top until they reach the top of the pyramid. How does it work? They bring a product and they tell you, you as a condition must buy this product from us. Once you do, you become a representative of ours. You sell these products to others. The more you sell, the more people would be under your network. So they themselves become representatives. We give you a percentage of what they had bought from you, and whatever they sell others, we give them a percentage and then give you a percentage of their percentage. So by this, people get greedy. So they buy this product and they try their level best to convince others, and they may succeed. And then the others also become greedy and they try to sell these products. So what's wrong in that, Sheikh? First of all, your initial purchase of the item was not to buy the item, rather to enlist in this program, to make money out of it. Secondly, when you go and ask people about the value of the pen, you'll find that it is 3 or 4 times more than what it actually costs. So the company is selling you a product that is 4 times more than the actual price to make money out of you, and to use this profit to give you a percentage, and those under you percentage and those above you percentage, where they get richer and richer for doing nothing. I got 2 representatives coming to me trying to convince me of its halal and showing me some fatwas and paperwork, etc., and logic, and I asked the man whom I thought had some religion in him, and I said, Akhi, what did they sell you? He said, they sold me a medallion. They claim 2,000 medallions only exist on earth. So I said, okay, let us assume it's correct. What's the actual value of it? He said, I bought it for like 2,000 riyals. And I would ask him about what's in it, gold or silver, whatever. He said, I took it to the jeweler's shop, and he said that this actually cost 400 riyals. So they sold it to him 5 times higher, claiming that's a golden medallion, which is haram for men to begin with, but this is beside the point. There is no gold in it. It's fake. Yet they are convincing him so that he would enlist. Therefore, such networking is not permissible unless, for example, cosmetic company came to me looking for a fatwa. Everything is legit except that you cannot enlist in their program until you buy their package. And the package contains samples of their cosmetics, makeups, and a brochure how to, or a manual how to sell and to describe with a bag. So I said to them, Akhi, the money is peanuts of this. Don't take it. If I come to you and want to become a representative, take me in, give me commission. No, the company back home in Sweden told us that you have to sell this. I said, putting this as a condition makes it haram. And this is a waste of so much potentials. But when people are so rusted up in their minds and defiant on, no, we want this amount of money for the samples and for the brochure or for the catalog, then this is their problem. Her second question was, what's the ruling on giving salam or replying to salam in the toilet? The answer is, this is not permissible. So if someone says to you, Assalamu alaikum, while you are in the toilet, the most you could say is alaikum. Or you can do as the Prophet ﷺ did, not answer. And he would not answer even if he was not on the state of wudu. Or if someone is answering the call of nature, must not answer, not say anything. Because part of the etiquette of being in the toilet or while answering the call of nature is not to speak at all. This is part of the Islamic etiquette, not to talk. Until you're through and you're out, then you can speak, and Allah knows best. Do we have Brother Ali from Pakistan?
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh Assim. How are you, sir?
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. I'm fine. How are you, Akhi?
I'm doing well. And first of all, I would agree with the lady before. You don't look like you're getting old anytime soon. MashaAllah, you stayed the same over the years. So keep it up.
Please talk to my wife. Anyhow, this is beside the point. What can I do for you, Ali?
Okay, two questions, Sheikh. One request for advice and the other one question. The first advice one is I'm beginning to learn Arabic. Some people have advised that I should just start with the basics and focus on Quran because that's why I want to learn it for. And I should just focus on reading and understanding and forget about speaking and learning to write at the moment. So I equip myself enough to understand what the Imam is saying. Is this a good approach?
Okay, second.
And the second question is about the garment below the ankle. Some people talk about one hadith, and some people say, well, the second hadith does mention arrogance. So if you're not doing it out of arrogance, then you can wear it. So what's your view on that?
Okay, I will answer inshallah. So Ali from Pakistan has two questions. The first one is about learning Arabic. And to me, as a native, it's difficult for me to tell you what's the best way because I speak Arabic since birth. So I didn't go through the process of learning Arabic like non-Arabs did. So I won't be able to pinpoint what's best. However, logically speaking, and as a person who's bilingual and trying to learn more languages, I tell you that it depends on what you're going to do with the language. If I were to learn Spanish, trying to write, speak, read, and listen is a comprehensive process. But in my age and lack of time might be difficult. So I would rather just listen, understand, and that's enough. To be able to understand that Feliz is happy, that's more than good for me. How to spell it? Don't ask me. When to use Esther and the other verb to be, it's a little bit difficult, but I have a vague idea of it. If I had the time, I would say no. If you want to do real proper learning of English, of Arabic, and become a student of knowledge, you have to do more than that. As for now, you know your conditions and you know the time span you have. If you don't have a lot of time, then yes, reading the Quran, listening and understanding it does the job. But if you have time and if you're young and you have the ability and the enthusiasm, I say no, you have to take the whole thing from the beginning, from scratch. And one of the best ways of doing this is reading newspapers, daily newspapers. So you know exactly what had happened in France and the spread of the Omicron virus and 100 or 200,000 cases a day. And when you read it in Arabic, you may know 2 or 3 words and miss 1 or 2. But because you know what it is about, you'll figure out the other 2 words that you did not understand. And bit by bit, you'll find that, whoa, now I'm learning. I know what this word means through intuition and experience, not because I've read it in the dictionary. And also listening to news, radio in Arabic, news programs. So also this adds value. إذاعة القرآن الكريم, which is global, coming from Saudi Arabia with ahadith, with programs, beneficial, adds to your vocabulary, adds to your knowledge. So you have to do this depending on your situation. Now his second question is very common one. The issue of wearing the garments below the ankles. There are a number of hadiths. Those who say that it is permissible without arrogance refer to a hadith, neglecting the general hadiths. And the scholars' methodology of dealing with these hadiths is not by picking and choosing, rather by implying and implementing and combining all these hadiths to understand them. You cannot come to one verse of the Quran that talks about whoever is surrounded by his sin, then he will abide in hell forever and eternity, and overlook the other ayat and verses. Because this is what the Khawarij do. And hopefully you're not from them. So how to look at it? Scholars had explained that. They said that there are two categories, two types of sins. One, a sin that involves arrogance. Two, a sin that does not involve arrogance. So the one that involves arrogance includes a number of torments and punishments. And the one that does not have arrogance has only one punishment. So if I drag my clothes below my ankle without arrogance, I'm just neglectful. The Prophet said, ﷺ, that the punishment of the area covered from your ankle to the ground is in hellfire. So if it's this much, it's this much. If it's this much, it's this much. If this much, this much. That's it. And we have from the sunnah hadiths where certain organs and limbs are being punished, not the whole body. As in the hadith of Abu Talib, the Prophet said, ﷺ, the least person punished in hellfire is a person where 2 fire stones are put in his shoes or sandals. From their heat, his brain boils. So it's only that area that is tormented, but look what happened to the whole body accordingly. Without arrogance, this is going to be punished. What about if a person does it with arrogance? We have a hadith that says there are 3 types of people that Allah Azza wa Jal does not look at them, does not purify them, that does not speak to them, and Allah would punish them severely on the Day of Judgment. One of them is the one who drags his garment. So the scholar said, this one drags his garment, the other one also dragged his garment. What's the difference? The other hadiths that stated that while a man was dragging his garment, walking in arrogance, Allah made the earth have a downfall or to be opened and swallow it, and he's falling throughout the whole earth to the 7th earth. This one includes arrogance. And in another hadith, Allah does not look at a man who drags his clothes out of arrogance. This one is with arrogance as well. So you see that there are classifications. And the hadith of Abu Bakr, which a lot of the people say, when the Prophet said this about dragging the garments below the ankles, Abu Bakr said, "O Prophet of Allah, I'm a skinny man. And my garment, I tie it as much as possible to my waist, but because I'm skinny, it keeps on falling. So it may fall under or below the ankles." So the Prophet gave him a declaration, alayhi salatu wasalam. He said, "You are not one of them. Don't worry." So people say, okay, I too do this not out of arrogance. Says, no. You don't, or you cannot afford such a permission from the Prophet ﷺ. If you have one, I would say, be my guest, but you don't. Therefore, this is an exception for Abu Bakr, because the Prophet knows what is in his heart through Allah's informing him Azza wa Jal. And I hope this answers your question. Brother Saud from Australia.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salamtullah.
Sheikh, I can't explain you how big pleasure it's mine to speak to you. It's my first time speaking to you.
Barakallah
And
feek.
I can't explain my happiness.
Yes, what can I do for you, Akhi?
Good. Yeah, Sheikh. Just 3 questions quickly. I'll ask quickly. It's very important for me, Sheikh. I'm very much confused. First one is, Sheikh, regarding the Salah which I missed due to sleep. So, Sheikh, I have heard that Imam Shafi'i saying that because the Prophet did not pray immediately in the valley and he left the valley, then he prayed. So, I heard that the opinion is that you can pray later.
Pray what?
So whenever I'm waking up, the sun. Sorry, Sheikh?
Pray what?
Pray that Fajr we can miss sleep later.
I don't understand your question.
Okay, I'll just frame it easy in simple way. I heard that Imam Shafi'i's opinion regarding the Salah, which one misses the sleep. Because you said that if one misses sleep, I have to pray immediately when I wake up, right?
Yes.
So I heard that the Shafi'i opinion is that you can pray later whenever you wake up, or after Zuhr you can pray. Because the Prophet did not pray immediately in the valley when they slept. So they prayed a bit later when they left the valley.
Okay, I understand your question. I understand question. Secondly, and I think we will only take your second question because we have to leave the air, unfortunately.
Okay, Sheikh. I'll just take second one is regarding Sheikh. Can you speak a bit about the Quranic miracle, the linguistic miracle? Because I don't know much of Arabic and I want to understand how it is a linguistic miracle. Because I just want to understand how can I explain this to my non-Muslim friends about this miracle.
What kind of miracles are you talking about?
Sorry, Sheikh?
What kind of miracles are you talking about?
The Quranic linguistic miracle. The Quranic linguistic miracle, Sheikh.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. So, Brother Saud from Australia, first question, he says that he heard the Shafi'i say, may Allah have mercy on his soul, a great Imam of the Muslims, that it is permissible to pray a missed prayer due to sleeping whenever you want. So if you missed Fajr prayer, you can pray it after Dhuhr, after Asr. And he says that the reason was that there is a hadith of a valley. What is the hadith of a valley? There is a hadith where the Prophet was on an expedition, alayhi salatu wasalam, and he set his camp at night, and he said to the companions, who will guard us and wake us for Fajr? So Bilal said, I will do. And Bilal stayed all night long, and at the end of the night he felt a little bit drowsy, so he put his back to the camel, just resting his back, and all of a sudden he fell asleep, and the Prophet woke up when the sun was almost in the middle of the day. And he woke up and he said, Bilal, what is this? He said, Wallahi, O Prophet of Allah, the one who made you sleep made me sleep. I had nothing to do with it. So the Prophet told them to pick up their camp, and they moved away, and then they prayed Fajr. So the confusion with Brother Saud is that Shafi'i claims, I don't know, Imam Shafi'i said this or not, that this hadith is an evidence that you can delay making up for the Fajr. And there is no evidence in that, because the Prophet justified this in the end of the hadith. So I beg to differ that Imam Shafi'i used this hadith, because in the hadith, the Prophet stated that in this camp, Shaitan overwhelmed you all. So in order to make up your prayer, we have to shift to another place where Shaitan has no power or authority in. That's the only reason. Secondly, how can we follow Shafi'i's instruction if he were to say such a thing, may Allah have mercy on his soul, and this is his ijtihad, when we have a clear hadith? This is authentic. The Prophet said, alayhi salam, whoever oversleeps a prayer or forgets it must pray it as soon as he remembers it. Must pray it as soon as he remembers it. There is no expiation to it other than that. What do you understand from this? The Prophet is telling you, pray it ASAP. Or as they say, ASAP. And you say, oh yeah, but Imam Shafi'i says, Akhi, the Prophet says, come on, give me a break. And some smart aleck would say, didn't the Shafi'i know about this hadith? Subhanallah, is Allah going to ask you on the Day of Judgment about what the Shafi'i said or what about the Prophet ﷺ said? Come on, be a real Muslim. So I respect Shafi'i. Shafi'i is on my head, definitely, but I respect the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ more. And if you fail to bring me a hadith or to indicate to me that the hadith is not authentic, then I'll always stick with the Quran and to the Sunnah till the day I die. And with this, we come to the conclusion of Ask Huda today. Until we meet you next Tuesday, I think, same time, same place, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech. Keep in my heart your remembrance, and in your deen allow me to advance. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Help me in my quest, permit me to pass the ultimate test. Allah is my heart's speech, your mercy is what I beseech.